but he was not as inconspicuous as he thought. He was whispering, whispering pretty loud.
Well, where is the mic? Where is the mic? I don't see it. Wait, can you play that clip? Or can you just you don't even play it? Maybe just scroll through it. Where is the mic?
No, we can watch it again. That's fine. Well, this is at an angle, so it's probably going to be somewhere like behind the water bottle. I'm assuming, so we're not going to see it. It's out of frame.
Because the mic's not. It's pretty far. I wouldn't think I'm getting caught on the mic.
As president, I will make peace wherever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America wherever we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer. Good. For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb. And just over the last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like 32,000 protests, 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue, starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Hello.
What up? I had one more.
Another video for us? Seriously? It's been 5 minutes.
30 seconds. Wait. It's 30.
Considered, or would you consider banning these crowdsourcing events because they can and sometimes do get out of hand?
So I'm not going to be banning snowball fights or organized snowball fights. I've shared my thoughts with New Yorkers, and I continue to believe that what we are seeing in this response to this winter blizzard from the city workers as a whole, and that includes the hardworking men and women of the NYPD, is part of why the city is getting back on its feet, and I'm appreciative of that work.
Thank you. Sergeant, we have to move on.
Yeah.
Annie, go ahead, right?
Hello, guys. There's a phone going off. Welcome to Absurdity Space.
It's
Christina, this is
episode
Forrest.
10. Episode 10. I forgot.
Are you gonna be doing this for every episode?
What? Saying what episode?
It'll be episode 525,600, right? Of Absurdity Space.
25,600 episodes. Yeah, you hope we last that long. What? It's the first 10 episodes. I'll stop it after this one. I won't say episode 11. I will say episode 6, 7 when we get to 67, but that's the only thing. But I am Forrest Miller. I'm here with Christina Oakes on the Absurdity Space. Hopefully I'm leaving Long Island tomorrow. I'm really hoping, because I forgot how annoying it is to have a fucking phone that just goes off like a house phone. I'm so used to having my cell phone.
The thing is, she's an old. Your grandmother's an old person. Old people have a landline still for some reason. That goes off every.
She doesn't really know how to use her cell phone, but she can make calls on it. I don't know why she keeps the landline going, but
I would just plug the landline for now.
Apparently,
it's probably
JD Vance is a Pakistani. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that that's a true statement.
Insert nervous chuckle here. That's all he does. I'm over here like, this is the guy that's supposed to take over MAGA. Yeah, right. That's just gonna die with Trump.
I have a weird feeling. I mean, it might be like Marco Rubio. Like, that would be crazy if it's.
Yeah, but he's such a wimp. He doesn't seem like he's just there. Like, you can tell he's not like ride or die. I mean, remember, he's never going to live up to the moment of during the response to Obama's State of the Union, where he's doing exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite clips from 2016 when Trump's roasting him and he's like, "Little Marco," and he's like, "Water, I need water."
Yeah, I'm getting wrecked by liberal Zionists for sharing a meme. Well, because you're involved in those discussions, and I'm over here like, you people bitch, even if we do create a third or vote for third party. So,
yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. None of us have any power over this stuff. Like, the comments on are like, well, why don't you run a candidate? It's like, because I don't know any candidates. I don't know any politicians. If I knew,
you live in New York, it doesn't matter. I live in South Carolina, it definitely doesn't matter. So it doesn't really matter who we run if we're in solid states.
But even so, like, I don't know. Like, I don't have anybody's phone number. I can't call somebody up.
And a lot of genocide denial too in the comments. I was like, yeesh.
Damn. Yeah, you share a meme and you never know who's gonna respond to it.
Thanks, Elmo.
Elmo?
Yeah, that's what we call Elon.
Oh,
that or
Elon.
elongated or muskrat or whatever.
You mean Elmo?
Yeah.
No.
El Nino.
Did you stay up last night and watch the State of the Union?
I thought it was boring. It is probably the most boring speech he's ever done.
It was like it was an hour and 47 minutes or something. Is that?
It's like, stand up if you believe illegal aliens are criminals and Americans are heroes. If you sit down, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's this stupid shit. Where it's like, how dare you not stand up for American citizens? It's like, shut up.
Maybe he's had some of those comedians try to teach him how to do like crowd work,
Yeah. And then I feel bad for the children who get used by their parents to have like their 15 seconds of like spotlight. I'm like, he's like, I'm going to ban illegals for giving driver's licenses. I'm like, I don't think they can though. Like, what?
No, you can. There's some states where they do have illegal immigrants getting driver's license, but it's so that like.
But you have to pass like a driver's test or something. Like, like
they're not handing them out, but it's the same way.
See,
that
my uncle. Because my uncle has this idea that the reason why car insurance is so expensive is that like undocumented immigrants steal cars and then leave them in the ditch, and I'm like, that's not how that works. That's not how any of that works, dude. No.
I mean, I don't know. It's just that like the entire process of like the illegal immigrant thing, right? Like the entire thing is that they just want them to work. So it's like, yeah, they let them get driver's license because that means they can drive to work. They let them like, I don't know, like they don't let them vote, but like there's certain things they let them do because it's like these are people that, you know, they
need those cards that show they are actually taxpayers and pay into Social Security, yet they don't even get Social Security and stuff like that.
Yeah, because they tax the shit out of them, which is crazy. It's like,
but now I read a report saying that job growth was little to like non-existent in the last year, and I'm like, you can't blame Biden for that. I mean, all the shit that Biden had to deal with was Trump.
It's been a pretty I muted myself and then said something immediately. It's been like a crazy year of like the economy, right? Because it's like we were never going back to 2019, and like the promise of Trump getting reelected was like, remember how great 2019 was? And it's like, yeah, like it
wasn't that great.
I mean, what for economy wise, right? Like gas was really, really cheap in 2019.
Well,
like,
yeah, but again, that's a lot of Obama's stuff too. Finally taken into effect. A lot of people don't understand the economic cycles for presidents. They take a while, considering all the crap that Bush did. So
yeah, I mean, it was
Trump
on that
kept bragging
on that trajectory.
Yeah, when Trump kept bragging about his economy, I'm like, dude, that's Obama shit. That's finally like, he's finally getting his flowers, for his economy and all that. But then, COVID happened, and then
by 2019, it's a trajectory, right? Like it goes in one direction, and then if something happens, like COVID, let's say, it smashes off in the other direction. I don't think it's by 2019. I don't think you can necessarily say, oh, just Obama, like, but it's at that point, it's like, I don't know, things are like a certain way because of just kind of a general trajectory of the economy. And it's like, it's going to go that way until it hits a big thing like COVID. But it's like, it was never going to be as good as it was in 2019 because of COVID, because we did so much spending and, jobs kind of cut off and there was a huge economic shakeup. And it's like, that's what always happens, though. It was never going to be any other way. And it's like, Trump was able to get out of there the first year of that before the economic slowdown really happened, and they go, oh, Biden.
Yeah, and they blame Biden. Yeah, but I'm like, here's a problem though. Biden ran on, I'm going to do better with COVID. But then he's like, let's reopen everything. No more stimulus checks. No more this. No more that. And it's like, dude, COVID's over. No, it's not. We're the first year in.
Yeah. Well, it was like, I don't know. I mean, Biden said he's going to do better at COVID, and then immediately was like, oh, let's get back to work as soon as the vaccines come. And then Trump said he was going to make it 2019 again. And then immediately just kind of the economy just kept going the way it's going. It's like everyone's just kind of an old man bullshitting, their voters. And it's like, I don't know. At some point, we need somebody just to be honest, to be like, look, things are shitty right now. Things are shitty all around. Like, I don't really, our economy, like, of course it did, because it's like, we're the wealthiest country on earth, but like it recovered faster than like a lot of economies in Europe and stuff. Like a lot of them are still kind of dealing with slowdown, like not even speed up. And now we're trying to make them spend 5% of their overall spending on pretty much everybody on military hardware and stuff. But it's also we ship so much shit to Israel. We ship so much shit to Ukraine. Like a lot of stuff happened in that time period where we spent a lot of money, and the government kind of used up its complete like weapon supplies. Like a lot of stuff happened in that time period.
Yeah, and that's another thing too with my meme. I'm like, guys, it's not just the genocide that we're funding Israel. We're funding like their version of the American dream. They get free healthcare, they get subsidized housing, public transportation. I'm like, free abortions. I'm like, everything that Israel has, we're funding that we could be giving to ourselves, but we're not doing that. So it's not just the genocide and the bombs; it's everything.
I mean, I don't know.
No one's mad about that either. It's fine because they're
works in a really weird way where it's like we put like at least the way that Obama kind of set it up on his way out, which he also gave. He gave like the PLO money too, but on his way out, he set it up so that every year we'd give $3.8 billion, but it's in an account, and we buy weapons from ourselves, and basically Israel gets to take out whatever it wants. And then they kind of point to that every time, and they're like, see, it's actually just weapons that mostly you're giving us. But then, the aid kind of ramped up last year, and we were just giving them more and more and more shit, the same as we were giving to Ukraine. And it's like, and to Taiwan, because we're like, why not throw Taiwan in there too?
Is it not a country?
I'm not answering that.
Also, Hassan Piker was right about Gavin Newsom. I remember a week ago, he was like, people like Gavin Newsom, I'm going to throw transgender people on the bus. And everyone's like, how dare you? And then Gavin Newsom's like, well, I feel like we're focusing on wedge issues and pronouns. And I'm like, what Democrats focusing on pronouns?
Yeah. I realized Gavin Newsom has the same kind of voice as RFK Jr., but it's just a little bit less gravelly.
I told my sister this, and she's like, don't be doing this to me. I'm like, really? You want him to be president? Anyway. But it's crazy because it's like it's like we were talking about before about the moderates that are saying that the Democrat Party has gone too far to the left, and on what, and the stupid stuff like pronouns and abolish ICE and defund the police, stuff that doesn't really actually matter, or stuff that's mostly just exacerbated by libs of TikTok accounts.
Yeah, he said what was the term? Culturally normal. Democrats have to be more culturally normal. But
that's not. I mean, telling transgender people to be culturally normal is so fucking insensitive too. What are you? What?
Some of it's that he's from kooky California, and it's his version of normal.
Liberal San Francisco, liberal bastion for LGBTQ rights. Am I right? Ugh.
His version of his version of cultural issues is probably way different than the rest of the country. But I think that comes out of virtue of him being part of the kooky California establishment. It's even in other states where it's where it's liberal, I don't think things are as fucking crazy as some of the California stuff. But it's I don't know. Every time they try to do something to help people out in California, he vetoes it. So it's the identity bills are really where he's shown as being a liberal beacon, and now he's oh fuck. I really think that's what it is.
We're taxing billionaires. We're gonna, it's again, it's I don't want to do this for the umpteenth time when it comes to getting a harm reduction candidate who doesn't actually reduce harm, because then we're gonna have someone like Trump. I'm like, guys, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We've been through this how many times? It's not working anymore.
I mean, it wasn't working last time either. People warned about it. They were this is if you guys are like Joe Biden, we're just gonna get. I mean, they said worse Trump, but it's we just have Trump but worse. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Basically, everyone's you know what? Let's just capitulate to him, even though he doesn't care about us, and we get a little something in the long run. I'm like, unless you're Stephen Miller and some people who are really ride or die since the first administration, that's about it. But there's so many people who are nah, fuck this guy, we can't.
Even from the first administration. I mean, Stephen Miller, obviously. I don't think Bannon's not in this administration officially, right? He's just doing.
No, it's just basically Stephen Miller. Everyone else is
yeah. Even I felt even Barr kind of turned on him in 2021 during January 6th. And you think that Barr would have been one of those people that moved over to the next administration. Mnuchin was the one that was kind of the adult in the room for a lot of the last administration.
Yeah, he's yo, Treasury, we can't be doing this stuff, dude.
Yeah, and so this time he got more insane people kind of to run all of that stuff. I mean, Howard Lutnick's the fucking. I mean, as Commerce Secretary is insane. He's the guy who literally owned the
files.
He literally owned the World Trade Center, offices in the World Trade Center. And when the World Trade Center got hit, he managed to call in his he managed to sue American Airlines, and he told the victims' families from 9/11, don't worry, I got your back. This was because Cantor Fitzgerald was his company. I think they lost 70% of their employees in 9/11. 70% of people that worked for him, died right away. And Cantor Fitzgerald was oh, don't worry, we're going to sue American Airlines. And he took the money from American Airlines, which was $100 billion or something in a lawsuit.
And not give it to victims' families.
Yeah, give it mostly to the shareholders. After telling the victims' families, don't worry, I got your back. It's
literally one of the people saying Giuliani was America's mayor. I'm like, why? Because he was mayor during 9/11. He did not do anything for the city of New York.
Yeah, well, he was very unpopular.
He was just there for the photo ops, and that's it.
He really managed to get his popularity back, and from a point where he was
killing all the homeless and cleaning up Times Square. I know, I've heard all the stories.
No, but I'm saying he was just. It's not even just that. I mean, yeah, it is, but he was also just thought of as like a weird guy. Like he had married his cousin, obviously.
Yeah, there was a whole movie with James Woods about it, and I was like,
there was so much like weird lore about his life. He was just like this weird gremlin figure. I mean, look at him now. Like he's a collapsed kind of fucking alcoholic, but he was put to like this big pedestal. I remember Biden, like one of the last times Biden managed to get like a really good sentence out, he ethered his shit during one of the debates because he said whenever he says anything, the only things that come out of his mouth are a noun, a verb, and 9/11. And his campaign like never.
Yeah, that was a good one. I was like, yeah, I remember that. I was like, damn, that's a good one. Yeah.
And everyone was sharing it to me like, look, Biden used to be, and it's like, yeah, but no, that's not Biden anymore.
Yeah.
That was like,
hasn't been him in a while.
Yeah, that was like 75% of Biden to go.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about this BAFTA thing, or
yeah, you saw, I saw the clip, and I definitely have thoughts.
I was watching it live. I was like, what? So here's what happened. There's a guy who was nominated. He's got a movie out called I Swear. His name is John Davison. He's a Tourette's activist. He suffers from a form of Tourette's that makes him say very inappropriate things at very inappropriate times.
Have you seen some of the older clips of him since then?
Yeah, I watched the movie. It opens up with him about to get knighted by the Queen, and he's screaming "fuck the Queen," and he's like, "Oh, sorry." And I'm like,
the Queen laughs.
I'm like,
right? The Queen's like,
oh. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, where's the sorry after the slur, you know? But the BAFTAs was really pushing hard for this movie because when it comes to the BAFTAs, yeah, there's sinners, yeah, there's one bad, but the BAFTAs like to push like the UK films, obviously, because it's very new. It's going to be an Oscar contender next year, not this year, but next year, I guess, because like deadlines and whatnot. And so the first presenters were Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, right? They're saying something, and then all of a sudden they hear a loud, hard R N word, and Delroy Lindo's like, and it's like no. And the funny thing is, no audible gasp, like like no. It's not like when Joe Wilson, my congressman, screamed "You lie" to Obama, and everyone was like. It was not that. It's like the Brits like, this guy said an N-word, it's fine. And
so there's a thing behind this. He was screaming stuff out at presenters all night. They just cut all of the ones except that N-word out of it. So by the time
the first one.
Award, yeah.
And so and then a lot of people like a some woman who worked on Sinners was like, yeah, he literally like looked at me and screamed it at me, and I'm like, oh. And then Machine did a very good thread about it. But what we're finding out is that BAFTAs didn't really warn people properly that like, oh, this guy's gonna be, saying stuff inappropriately. We might have a hot mic on him. We don't know. It seemed like it. But like Warner Brothers Media was like, what the fuck, guys? There's a 2-hour delay. You gotta apologize to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. Like even like they fumbled this. In my opinion, the more I'm looking into this, BAFTAs did this on purpose to give this film publicity, which is awful because it's at the expense of 2 men of color having to hear that word and a man suffering from something that he cannot control. Now, when people were explaining this form of Tourette's to me, they're like, they cling on to stuff that's taboo, and I'm like, well, that doesn't help. That's not a really good explanation. I don't think it's intentional that they cling on to stuff that's considered taboo. It's just something that their brain does and that they can't really control it. Yeah. So it's like some of the people who weren't really experts were explaining it in the worst way possible, and it's like, that's not good.
So basically, it's a tick, right? Like, so you can't control it. But it's whatever you like. It's the most socially, and this is kind of my worst nightmare. Is like being it, like being that kind of like it's really hard. Like I just have I have a lot of empathy for somebody that gets into that situation because I get really intrusive thoughts. But it's like, what if you had intrusive thoughts, which is what it is, but then your body just couldn't control it, and whatever your intrusive thought was just spilled out of your mouth. Like that's a fucking nightmare to me. And so this guy has that, and it's 10% of people with Tourette's that have that and have that specific tick. But that's the one that everyone famously kind of like makes fun of or like talks about, where it's like someone who who curses. But like when you see him walking with his mom,
it's like that episode of South Park. It's like Cartman or whatever having like Tourette's and doing that stuff, and it's like
he's the guy.
But like also too,
when he was 16, they took that video of him walking with his mom, and he's calling his mom like a stupid cunt, and he's saying like,
Yeah.
you know, calling his mom like an old bitch, and he's saying like fuck you, and then like a woman walks by and he's like he's saying like just really sexual shit, but he can't help it, and it's like whatever intrusive thoughts, it just has to come out. And like there's also I think when you have
it's like when people see like something horrible happen, like our first reaction is to laugh, unfortunately, because I did that when Charlie Kirk got shot. But it's like and it's a thing, but I feel like that's just a universal thing, because we can't process like something like that happening like in real time. But another thing is that a lot of people are like, well, what about Kanye West and his bipolar disorder? I'm like, yeah, but there's no medication that can really hone in on this form of Tourette's. There's medication for bipolar disorder and schizophrenia and borderline personality disorder, so that we don't go anti-Semitic. Like I worry that this is going to make people be like, well, I have the N-word pass because I have this medical condition. I was like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That's not how
at the
works.
same time, it's like, I'm happy if people come away with this knowing more about it, because it just feels like it feels like it's such a hellish existence. And the guy seems very, very kind. Like he's not a bad guy, and he apologized to them after the fact, but he did it like privately. So everyone on Twitter was angry. They're like, oh, he's not apologizing. But like his people literally went to everybody that worked on Sinners, and they were like, look, like we want to talk to you. He's really sorry. I mean, I think his PR people had to do it, because obviously like he's just gonna get up and say the N-word again. Like it's kind of hard to imagine his face to face, but he like they worked with the people. The thing is though that he doesn't. The whole thing is like knowing that it's not your fault, and I think that apologizing in that public way kind of gives you a form of culpability in it that he's trying to avoid, because he's trying to say, hey, like people that live like me, it's not our fault, right? So it's like it's hard to. I'm not saying like not to apologize, but it does feel like we've reached this level of like, oh, like apologies are accountability, and it's like, but the only way to get accountability is if you did something, and it's like. Or like, you know, making amends to someone if you did something. And it's like his whole thing is trying to show that it's not something he has any control over. It's not something he
It's like people in a wheelchair, you know, you bump it, you might, you know, hit someone, or, you know, my Uma used to do this all the time. And it's like, watch where you're going, but you still got to, you know, apologize and just, you know, keep moving. You know, it's not like, I mean, the problem is that even though there wasn't intentional harm, there's still some form of harm. You know, if you just gotta, you know, apologize and move on. But again, I feel like the BAFTAs were really the biggest culprit of just you know, we didn't have Ariana, what's her face doing, you know, Angela Bassett did the thing. We gotta create another viral moment. So why not? You know,
well, a big thing is that they put
something.
it next to a microphone, and he actually said, hey, you guys know I have this problem. I don't want to be near a microphone that's picking up.
Yes.
And they said, don't worry, we're going to tell everybody. Which at the beginning of the BAFTAs, they made 2 announcements, but they didn't tell the presenters, who the important people on the stage.
Yeah, the people. It's just telling the audience, not people that are backstage.
So they didn't. So the reason that Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan didn't find out about it is because they literally didn't tell them. They told the people in the audience, like, hey, this guy's going to be doing this the entire time, which he was, and then they cut out every single one but the N-word. Yeah, which is like. I don't know.
But they also cut out the dude saying "Free Palestine." It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
but
they cut it out like instantaneously.
But the BAFTAs were like, no politics. I'm like, okay, but like I mean, maybe I'm looking into this, but I do feel like again, this was a publicity stunt, because who watches the BAFTAs?
And I think this is going to change in April when this movie comes out in America, but it has not come out in America yet. And the BBC first followed this guy, and he's like, he's got to be in his 40s or 50s now. I couldn't find an exact age.
Yeah, he's in his 50s, I think.
But they started following him at 16, and he's been like a presence on the BBC ever since. So they interview him all the time. They update him. They're like, they've made multiple.
So for us Americans, we're like, who is this guy? What?
But like a lot of British people are like, oh, this is somebody, this is like this is a person who suffers from something that we've known all along. Like imagine if let's say Michael J. Fox, right? And like imagine like Michael J. Fox was not somebody that they knew about, and let's say he went to Japan, and he's in Japan and he's shaking, and he pours like a hot like thing of tea on somebody or something, but they don't know who. I mean, I'm sure that they do know, but like, you know, like Back to the Future or whatever, but like let's say they didn't, anybody in
maybe
Japan,
they didn't know much about Parkinson's disease.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if they have Parkinson's disease, like let's say that they didn't know anything about Back to the Future. They didn't know this is like a celebrity here that's like, you know, that suffered from this from a while. And it just seems like he's being a dick and he tried to pour something on a Japanese person. It would be a different situation, I think, than if it's like, I know that this is a person who doesn't mean this. Although, unless you're Larry David, and then you think that he still does. But you know that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where he spills the tea on Larry David and he gets all pissed off because he thinks he's faking it.
Yeah, my favorite episode is the Palestinian chicken episode. That one always still goes hard.
But I'm just saying, like, this is somebody that. So a lot of the responses from people, I mean, you know, people. There's a lot of people that are already fucking racist on Twitter, but a lot of the responses were overly aggressive to, you know, black people that were obviously trying to grapple with what they just saw or what had happened.
Yeah, the problem is that people who were like, "That's ableist," were calling, you know, people the N-word, and then other people were calling the R word, and it's like, you guys are not helping each other here by spewing slurs at each other.
Although I do think it's really funny that if they were like, okay, the only way to make amends for calling them the N-word is if they could call you the R-word.
Yeah.
And it's like, then it's even. Or
like, I'm just like, I was like, yeah, this is not. But I didn't feel. I'm like, it's only a matter of time before they actually both sides started like throwing the designating slurs at each other, and that happened real fast. But
people don't like it if you try to like. If you try to get in the middle and say, okay, I think I know what's happening here with the disconnect between people's responses to this, then they're like, oh, you're taking this side, you don't care about the other side, or you're taking, because like I had people that like I followed that were all of a sudden started acting like, because I was trying to explain like, okay, like I after like following a lot of these clips, like I kind of get it, like this is somebody who has been in like the British spotlight for a long time, and we don't know who it is, but they do, and it's like then people are like, oh, so you don't care about black people's feelings, and even people I follow, it's like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then people were like, "You don't care about disabled people's feelings," and it's like, "Oh boy, this is like, because someone said racism or ableism, pick your poison or whatever." And I'm like, oh,
it's like which way, Western man?
Western, yeah, exactly. It's like, God. You know what would be interesting? I think this could happen at the Academy Awards. He presents with Delroy and Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, well, so
that would be interesting.
That movie
that could happen.
That movie is coming out in April in America. And so like we're gonna see that movie, and maybe people are gonna be like, oh shit, I was a dick. But I mean, I don't know how many. I don't think it's gonna go on like a massive theater run. Well, maybe now it will. Maybe that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah. Like, I feel like BBC did this as a thing because they were going hard for this movie.
I'm not entirely sure about this, but they announced that America had picked it up as a distribution theatrical run or whatever during the BAFTAs. So I do wonder, like, if it was one of those situations, because a lot of times when they have award ceremonies or they have these various things, like distribution is there and they want to see how the movie does, and it's like then they pick it up. So I mean, they could have been trying to get distribution, and it's like, here, we'll just have this guy throw out the N-word.
Yeah,
fucked up though. I don't want to like. I don't want to think that badly of everybody involved, but I do think that.
But it's the Brits. What do you expect? I mean, the fact that Sinners is the most awarded movie from a person of color in BAFTA's history, and it only won like 3 awards—that's insane. But I mean, also not shocking.
Like Delroy Lindo, British. You know what I mean?
British. Woman's British, but like. I mean, Delroy, he's been in the business for like, you know, he's like that guy actor for like black men, I think, you know, and that's what I tell my mom. My mom's like, she
starting with I think Crooklyn or like one of those, or Clockers, like one of those Spike Lee movies. He was in pretty much every single Spike Lee movie, including The Five Bloods, which is like, you know, one of the better like non kind of big Spike Lee movies, like.
Yeah, and so the look on his face is like it's really like, you know, I've been in this business for how many decades, and I still have to deal with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those really tough situations. They also
again, Force. If we were to cast Sinners and it came out in the mid '90s, we all know Delta Slim would still be Delroy Lindo.
Yeah.
Everyone else is different, but him.
I
can't picture anyone else playing, you know, him.
All right, back to having the chat. I guess the chat was out
for the last like week or so. YouTube's been like, it's been wonky. It's been like, what's going on here? Is there like an attack or some sort that they're fighting off? What's going on here?
They're like,
remember when Elon was claiming Twitter was getting attacked or whatever? It's like, dude, you fired 80% of the people. You fired 80% of the people, and the app doesn't work. That's on you.
I thought, wait, I want to see if this is the right video, but I thought this was interesting. There was, Jermaine Williams, who's the public advocate of New York City.
Yeah.
Actually he's both black and has Tourette's, and he put out this video that I thought was cool. I won't play the whole thing because it's like 4 minutes, but he put out his his thoughts because he's the first U.S. elected official with Tourette's.
Diagnosed over 30 years ago. As you might be able to tell, I'm also a very proud black man. I also have coprolalia, which means I sometimes tick socially unacceptable words, including the N-word. So you might imagine I have some thoughts on the BAFTA controversy. Let's go. So I know everyone has a lot to say on this incident, a lot of anger and outrage, which I understand, a lot of opinions. I want to make sure we're able to put that outrage and required empathy in an intersecting controversy and issue with the information that's needed on a complicated thing. When I was elected over 15, 16 years ago, I was thought to be the first elected official with Tourette's syndrome. And thankfully, that is no longer the case. And people with coprolalia only make up about 10 to 30% of people who actually have Tourette's syndrome. It's important to remember that it's not just a lack of a filter, it's an involuntary compulsion, whether it's vocal or body movements, and it can also include very bad intrusive thoughts. Now, before I was diagnosed, my mother saw a 2020 special. It actually had a man who was white, and his tick was one of his ticks was the N-word. This was over 30 years ago. I'll pause there because I'm going to come back to it in a moment. Now, obviously, we want to practice care when we're speaking about the person who has Tourette's syndrome, who is the ticker, because they also require some grace and some consideration. Regardless of the reason, a word like the N-word can cause a lot of harm. There's some spaces where it's not just about whether you're making noise, whether you're moving in a way that people might be a little uncomfortable. This is a very specific thing. So I'm only speaking about the N-word and use of it in different spaces. You also have to provide empathy and care for people who are receiving it, like Delroy Lindo, like Michael B. Jordan, like the thousands, if not more, of people who heard it. They deserve some care and compassion as well. And I believe that's where the ball was dropped. I don't think there was enough care that was provided. And there's some ways I want to talk about how we could have and how BAFTA and others can do better in the future. Back to that 2020 special. That white man who had ticks of an N-word, what he used to say was nickels, pennies, and dimes. And he augmented it in a way. And I learned to do that when I was diagnosed. And I want to be clear, so I don't want to harm people with Tourette's syndrome. Everyone with Tourette's is not the same. Everybody cannot do that. So don't stop asking people to do that. 2, it can be harmful to yourself if you're augmenting or trying to hold in tics. When you hold it in, it comes out worse later. It can also be painful for you. So I want us to be clear about that. There are other things that we can do. One is you can move yourself from a situation in a specific, and this might have been one of the specific spaces that the N-word, if that is your tick, you may not want to be there for a few moments. I did hear that John did remove himself, so credit to him. But it was a story, his movie about his life, about this very issue, which was the reason he was there in the first place. So maybe that cannot be done, or it can. But here's what should have been done. BAFTA should have done a lot more to explain what was going to happen before and after. Definitely should have provided more care for Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo so they had the information they needed, and they themselves could have explained what was going on. BAFTA could have censored the damn thing. You had time to censor it and provide more information about what you were censoring and why. And I believe, although it may be hard, that John himself needs to make some comments here to acknowledge, even though there's a reason, there is harm that can be caused. So we have to make sure we're doing this and putting the anger in the right places, but also providing the empathy and care for everyone that's involved. And I believe that was dropped when it came to Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and shout out to them. Sadly, Black people have to know how to have poise in so many situations just so they can survive. Now, for kids, young people who are listening, I want to make sure you understand if you have Tourette's, it's a part of you, but you're not defined by it. It doesn't have to limit what you do. You may have to change a little bit, but you can go so far in this life. So let's continue. One of the best things that might come out of this is more conversation, more information. Keep the anger, keep the empathy. Let's put it in the right place.
Yeah, so I thought it was good.
Yeah, I have a cousin who's got Tourette's, but his whole thing is like grunting and like blinking, and it's because he didn't really have like the best childhood. And again, like, it sometimes it comes and goes, but then there's others where it's like, everyone's probably looking at this video like, this man seems fine, because another one that went viral was this one girl who she does like, middle fingers, and she twitches and it's like, and whistles and stuff. So it's like that form is like an extreme case of like, that form of Tourette's. And that can be very distracting for people who are not used to seeing that. It's like some people be like, I couldn't finish, like some people were like, I can't finish watching this because of all these, all these things that are going on with her. And I'm like, well, that's what it is like for her, And and I feel like, it'll be important for more people to explain, like, it does come in different, it's a spectrum.
And, I think that there's a lot of, it's not just Tourette's. Like there's some very autistic people that have that have tics as well. Like OCD, OCD has a lot of similarities with Tourette's. Like there's a lot of.
I wish I had OCD, honestly, because I would be a better cleaner, I think.
I don't think you don't wish you had OCD. It's I'm pretty sure my grandma has it. Like that's like she's very.
I'm not talking like Charlie's mom, like 1, 2, 3, like like tapping or stuff, but like the excessive, like the needing to control something to actually soothe like anxieties or something.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like I'm pretty sure my grandma has it. She's like in rehab right now for like she broke her back, but she kind of has a thing where like if there's anything on
she's
the ground,
gonna outlive us all. She's
probably.
like what, 96?
90. She's like 94, 95. I think she's 94 right now. But there's a thing where like if something drops on the ground and like she sees it and there's like any kind of like she cannot focus on anything else until that thing is off the ground. And it's like it seems like a painful way to live, but it seems like even more painful if it was before people really went to like therapists or like had any kind of thing with it. So you spend your whole life not knowing why you're doing that, but like you are. Like I can't imagine that really. It's just like this is the way I am, and people are trying to like pull you away from it. And it's like, I don't know, compulsions are really tough, I think. But then you have something like Tourette's, where it's like Jermaine Williams said, like if you try to hold it in, it's worse later on, or it's like it comes out in a different way, and the way that it like comes out can actually like cause physical harm to you. And it's like it's crazy to think about that, like because like if you don't say the N-word, but no, like if you don't like if you try to, because with anything really, with human beings, like if you don't like if your body wants to do something and you try to fight back against it, like it can cause like physical harm to you. So I can't imagine what it's like when it's something that like your whole mind is like, please don't, because like some things people are like the fact that it's a neurological and not like a mental condition, right? Like you have your mental faculties are 100% there, and it's like your brain is like, why logically why does this happen to me? But it's like physically you can't stop it, and it's like I don't know.
It's like when I give my Faye Dunaway styled mommy tears outburst at times. It's like it's getting worse the older I'm getting.
Like I don't know. It just getting intrusive thoughts already sucks without like like I get them constantly, and it's like, and you can't really until they subside. Like you can't really do anything about them. Really, but it's like imagine
it's like also like the negative voice inside your head. It doesn't have to be your actual voice, but it could be like someone else's voice too. It's like my sister's the voice in my head that's like always like, but then again, she kind of was very not the most encouraging sister growing up, so that stuck with me.
But just imagine if every time you had an intrusive thought, like you like you couldn't control it, you just said it, and it's like I don't know. That's a different.
It'd be like Hassan's soundboard every time.
So yeah,
God, that's driving me nuts.
It's hard to like, keep empathy for everybody involved in a certain situation, but it's like I have.
But that's one thing we learn the Brits are the worst.
Yeah.
No offense if you're British, but you're kind of the worst. Did you see Zohran Mamdani's promoting Brad Lander? Did you see the ad for that on his Instagram?
I just saw that he did it. Wait, let me. I'll put it up.
It's good. It's good. He's like, I don't take any special interest money, even APAC. He seems like a nice guy, Brad Lander.
Yeah, he does. Wait, let me.
He seems like a nice, like he kind of reminds me like Tom Steyer, but like not a billionaire.
poor
I'm just
man.
happy to be here, Bernie. That type
poor
of
man Steyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Some bonds are unbreakable. Some ties are unshakable. And winning coalitions are still makeable. I'm Brad Lander, a lifelong progressive, and I'm running for Congress.
A lifelong progressive? You mean you haven't sold out the special interest?
Or APAC either.
That's impressive. No, it shouldn't be.
And I'm not about to change.
But Congress needs to. So if you have some spare change, please go to bradlanderforcongress.com. Give whatever you can.
Because it's not enough to elect Democrats.
We need better Democrats.
And
some things are better together.
That is the cutest political ad I've seen in a while.
Yeah,
like it's like
it's
they're
kind
like
of-
a good
it's kind of
buddy
stupid, though.
movie.
They didn't even they purposely did the thing where it's like, and some things are better. They didn't even try to do it on perfect.
I know, it's like you guys were not in sync when you said that.
The
You
story.
couldn't do another take.
The story behind like they kind of broke up Brad Lander and Zoran at one point because so basically Zoran led Brad Lander to believe, or Brad Lander came to believe, that as long as he stayed endorsing Zoran when Zoran finally won, he was going to be made either deputy mayor or he was going to be made something in his administration. And that was never like a handshake deal that they had made. So he was going around telling people nonstop. I mean, this was reported in Gothamist and this was reported in I think also Politico, but they like kind of went in depth with like a lot of people involved in the campaign. So he was going around telling everybody on the phone, like, and eventually it came back to Zoran, like, hey, Brad Lander keeps saying that like you promised him some kind of job, and I guess he hadn't. So Zoran got extremely like upset about that and was like, I never promised you a job. So they basically broke up for a while, and he said like, I'm not putting you in my administration. I have no intention of putting you in my administration. And he was like, but if you run against Dan Goldman, who already is like one of Zoran's enemies. So he basically said, hey, run against one of my enemies, one of the guys that I hate, and I'll endorse you, but I'm not gonna like have a job for you in my administration, which is like, I don't know. It's like, run against.
I mean, we
somebody
do
I
need
hate.
better Democrats in Congress. So considering like 30 Republicans are like, I'm not seeking re-election.
Yeah, it's
Good,
hard
cool.
to like, I don't know. It's hard to see how much is like spin and how much is true on any side of like a piece like that, though. You know what I mean? It's like, because they tried to make it out to seem like Zoran was kind of playing Brad Lander, but Brad Lander was also kind of an idiot. And it's like, I don't know. So who knows how personalized that was, but it's like, it kind of made me sad because I liked their little friendship during the whole run.
It's like they made amends, though, it seems. Because I mean, if you get Zoran's endorsement, it's like in like the AOC endorsement these days.
Well, Zoran was the one that told him to run. He said if you run,
he probably has the best chance.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just find it kind of interesting. But it's like he's running against Dan Goldman, who's now, like, except for his, I mean, he's been one of those weird people that like is kind of progressive and kind of a centrist. Like he tries to have a foot in each side, but
fence sitting.
Yeah. And his like opinions on Israel are obviously terrible, but besides Israel, right? Like he tries to kind of have a foot in each camp on that side.
Yeah, at least he's not like Deborah Messing, who decided to be like anti-trans despite winning GLAAD awards and shit like that. Like I feel like once you start going down like the liberal Zionism like route, you end up becoming more conservative on every other issue, and it's weird. Like there's all these like reverse canary mission where it's like, here's a celebrity who's clearly a Zionist, and it's like Aubrey Plaza because she signed that one fucking petition, or like oh, Anya Taylor-Joy is a Zionist because she's worked with companies that have done cosmetic companies that have given money to Israel. I'm like, but that doesn't mean she's a Zionist, guys. I feel like we're trying to do the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon with Zionism when there are people who clearly love Israel with every fiber of their being. That makes them an actual Zionist. Signing one petition.
They're trying to get back at people for doing the Canary Mission thing in the first place, is what they're really trying to do. Like they don't really give a fuck. It's like
I feel like a lot of them are. I think a lot of these like, oh, this person's a Zionist account are just ops.
Yeah.
To make pro-Palestinian people look dumb, and I keep
There
trying to
was
tell
one
people
that was
this, but they're
there
like,
was one that was like straight up slowly posting Nazi shit, and for some reason I had a feeling that's like it was like a Jackson Hinkle alt because it paid $1,000 for the gold check because that's how much a golden check cost. And so it's like who can really afford that? And it's like the way that they were posting like mostly Jackson Hinkle clips at one point. And it's like I think that's who runs this account. It eventually got banned because but it was calling itself like an organization. I don't think it was Reverse Canary Mission. It was one of those accounts that like slowly was posting more and more Nazi shit. It's like damn.
I know people who write characters, right? Like there's Bridgerton, there's Marvel. They write, they do like writing role play where they write plots and characters. And now there's a thing because I like to keep because I used to do that when I was younger as like something to have my mind, creative and all that. But now it's getting to a point where people are like, you cannot use this person as a face claim because they are staunch Zionists. You can't be, and it's like, guys, we're gonna be. I'm like, you people are running out of face claims for characters if you're not using like the original person. Like, I get it if there's an abusive piece of shit, but like not wanting Aubrey Plaza as a face claim for a character she's played in something is kind of weird to me. I'm like, you guys are not understanding that some of you are being played by ops.
Yeah, and it's also just like
not every also Aubrey Plaza has always been a big Biden fan because she's from Delaware. It's like being from New Jersey and not being a Springsteen fan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care. Like, I don't really care about a lot of celebrities. Like, I care more about like what they use their platform to kind of do than I do about like a lot of times it's like, oh well, this person has this and this and this and believes these things. It's like, all right, but they're like good in movies, so it's like as long as they're not, as long as the majority of their effort or like a lot of their effort isn't being used to like finance some like evil shit. Like, I'm not talking about like people that are like actually vile, but I'm talking about like like
we know there's difference between like Aubrey Plaza and Deborah Messing, right? Like Deborah Messing's Instagram stories are.
Do you see the picture of?
Because she shares like libs of TikTok stuff now, and I'm like, oh Jesus.
You see the picture of
Matt
her?
Bernstein's video on her was great.
She posted this picture earlier where it's her. I can't remember who the other three are, but it's like they're all in like the same kind of costume, and then it's just Amy Schumer in the middle, and she just kind of looks miserable.
Yeah, she's like Zora's New York, and I'm like, oh Jesus.
But yeah, it was like a really funny picture because the three of like the other celebrities all were like these glasses, and they're all kind of dressed the same, and then Amy Schumer in the middle was like.
Yeah.
Amy Schumer is one of those like weird people that I fucking hate that there's like a group of there's a group of like body positivity celebrities, like including Amy Schumer, like Lizzo, like there's a bunch of them that as soon as they got a chance to have Ozempic, they're off the body positivity train. And it's like it's like,
but also they're renaming it like the GPL, whatever it's called, pill instead of Ozempic because they know the stigma attached to Ozempic. I'm like, it's just Ozempic, but with a different name, the more clinical name.
Well, Ozempic's also owned by Denmark.
Yeah,
they don't want to pay Denmark for it anymore. They're trying to make Ozempic in America again. Literally, it's
just do heroin. That's how you do it.
I want to say it's Denmark because I think it also goes in with I want to say it's Denmark because it goes in with the whole Greenland thing. We're trying to punish the biggest thing that Denmark's economy has produced in like a while.
I'm amazed Trump hasn't tried Ozempic.
I think he did.
How fat he is.
He did. Yeah, because you saw him when he first. I don't think he might have been the guy that he was talking about.
Maybe he just wears clothes that are too big for him. I don't know.
Well, when he first started running again, when he was campaigning, both he and Vance did a round of Ozempic, and you could tell because they both skinnied up. But he looked crazy on fucking Ozempic. Those when he had all those pictures and he had like the glassy-eyed stare,
Kachusky neck.
Yeah, and he was like losing a lot of weight, and you could see. So he had like this. It was when he was hanging out with Laura Loomer all the time, and it looked like Laura Loomer was like his caretaker. That he was. If you looked,
she was doing other things for him. It's fine.
But if you looked at what he looked like at Mar-a-Lago at that time, like all of his pictures, he was on Ozempic. Like you could see, he did a cycle.
Yeah,
as they call
but
it.
then you immediately gain the weight back and stuff. Because I know people who were doing like lots of Ozempic, and they're like, I haven't had a regular bowel movement forever. It's all just, and I'm like, well, maybe you're abusing it.
Yeah, I mean, can you really abuse? I think you could definitely do too much, but.
You can abuse weight loss stuff. I mean, we're still having the conversation about whether or not certain celebrities are anorexic because some people are just naturally thin. So I'm like, guys, it's in the face. It's
for a while,
the face.
Like, the early 2000s, right? Like a lot of people abused diet pills. Because the whole thing was that there was a little bit of either like speed.
I remember that Trim Spa stuff Ann Nicole Smith was promoting.
Yeah, like a lot of it had something. It had some kind of synthetic stuff that, like, it felt like you were taking like Adderall or like something like that, or some of it had other stuff where like there's diet pills would have like these like concentrates or whatever in it that sometimes would like make people feel like real jittery. You know what I mean? So they would start abusing it.
Yeah,
Ozempic's a little bit different because obviously you can only really take the cycle. I think that you're given, but it's like you can never stop taking it is the problem.
Yeah, because it's so funny because a lot of people accuse Ariana Grande of being anorexic. I'm like, guys, she's always been skinny. The fake tan, all that dark fake tanner hid it all. Her face still has fat to it. do people not remember what I mean? Karen Carpenter had a very thin face already, but from what I remember reading about is that she had an hourglass figure, so she always complained about her hips, and hips are bones. You cannot do anything about your hips. So when I'm looking at photos of her from, you know, let me share this real quick. Wait, what? That's not what I wanted to do. There.
Now you can do stuff a little bit about your hips because they have like plastic surgeries for it and stuff. But
see, like this is Karen Carpenter before 1976, right? She looks fine.
You didn't put it on. Oh,
I didn't put it up there. Okay, see that's her. She looks great. And then boom, that is anorexia. That is just skin clinging to bones. So when people try to accuse like all these actresses in Hollywood of being anorexic, I'm like, no, they're just a little thin. They're a little bit thinner. Some people cannot put on weight. She was taking 90 laxatives a day. She was taking a thyroid replacement medication, and taking Ipecac every day, every night. That is what anorexia looks like, people. Not someone who has like a collarbone, and I don't know, but it's just getting to the point where people are just like, this person is sick and needs our help, and it's like, no, they just are naturally thin. I mean, when I was on Adderall,
a lot of people just have too much going on with not enough going on with their lives. You know what I mean? They're just they get like parasocial relationships to celebrities that they're like, oh, we got
again, guys, Ariana Grande is 5 feet tall. That her weight and height, perfect. Karen Carpenter was 5'4". I'm 5'4". When I went on Adderall, I was at almost 150. I went to 100 pounds. And even then, I still looked okay because I still had like, you know, Karen Carpenter was like 77 pounds at one point. 77 pounds, I mean, 5'4".
Back then, though, they didn't really have as much of an understanding of it, at least not in popular imagination.
She had to die for people to have understanding of it because no one knew about it.
I feel like there is a weird thing that we're getting back to where it's like the early 2000s, you know, that people like really people were really starving themselves, and like a lot of
the heroin chic.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I feel like we're getting back to that, and it's like I wish somebody would do like a I mean, there's no way to really whatever, but I wish someone would do like some kind of cultural I don't know, like reporting on it or something where you're like, why is that happening right now? And like,
because the problem is so many YouTube essayists are actually saying, yes, your favorite celebrity is anorexic. And I'm like, no, they're not. You're feeding into bullshit too. You're not helping.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of celebrities that have been anorexic forever, but like, I don't think there's just something right now. And maybe it's the prevalence of Ozempic, and maybe it's maybe it's also the prevalence of like there's some connection, some psychic connection between the second Trump administration and the second Bush administration or something, because it feels like we're back to a certain cultural ferment where it's like our culture feels like
Gen Z embracing Y2K fashion.
Yeah, and it feels like there's a lot of stuff with that where it's like it feels like we're back to the early 2000s, and I'm not quite sure why that is, but it's like weight loss. I mean, weight, like with the weight that people are, you know, taking off, and with style, and with like a lot of things. Like I feel like early 2000s, like pop music is back in a big way. Maybe it never really left.
We always go through like a 20-year nostalgic cycle, and I say this too about like if there was a nostalgia wave of like the 1970s in like the mid 90s, the Brady Bunch movie probably would have done a lot better. But like when I was in middle school in the mid 2000s, the 80s fashion was back. The leggings and the skirts and the, you know, the hand warmer gloves and stuff like that, and the fuzzy like we're going through like in the early 2000s, the bell bottoms and hip hugger jeans were back, you know, low cut, you know, belly flowy belly tops. So we're going through another 20-year cycle where we're feeding into this nostalgia again because it seems nice, and it's like the early 2000s weren't that great.
Yeah, well, I mean, they could kind of disappear you, like the Dixie chick, like if you said the wrong thing. And I think that Trump is hoping that like conservatives get that kind of power, but I don't think the Bush administration had mapped that out. I think it's just the fact that after 9/11, like patriotic fervor kind of took hold of everybody, and they were
because we wouldn't in choir class, we would not stop singing Lee Greenwood's "God Bless the USA." I'm like, can we please play some Bruce Springsteen? Why can't we sing "This Land Is Your Land" or like what? Come on.
But it's like I think
But
that
I hate that song now
I
because
don't
of it.
think you can. I don't think you can really telegraph patriotism the same way. Like I think that if 9/11 hadn't happened, because I don't think the Bush administration planned 9/11. So I think if 9/11 hadn't happened,
They just ignored the signs.
what do I? Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's obviously that, but like, yeah, but I'm not. But I'm saying like I think that kind of just happened, and they saw a way to kind of destroy any kind of, because they wanted to obviously invade Iraq. They wanted to obviously invade Afghanistan. There's all these different things that they wanted to do, the neocons, and they saw their opportunity happen and they took it, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can call it here for this week. Movie night extravaganza. We have Begonia coming up as our movie this week, next Tuesday, and then we have The Secret Agent the following Tuesday, and then we also are going to be doing a speed round that week of movies that we haven't covered from the Oscars. So we'll have more information about that next week.
Yeah.
See ya next week. See ya on the flippity flop.